This is a true event that happened. 33 miners were trapped 700 meters underground. The rescue team, regardless of cost, carried out a rescue operation lasting more than 2 months. Just like the cave rescue in Thailand, this rescue also shocked the world. Hello, I'm Mr. High. If you love strange, dark, and mysterious stories told in a way that makes you curious and gives you chills, then you've come to the right place. This is exactly what I do, and I upload every week. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any video. The Atacama Desert in Chile is one of the driest regions in the world. Beneath it lies many minerals, for example, the more than 100-year-old San Jose mine. More than 10 kilometers of tunnels had been dug underground, the deepest reaching 1,609 meters. On August 5, 2010, 33 workers entered this mine to work. But suddenly, a massive rock in the tunnel collapsed, completely blocking the main passage. This was not an ordinary rock, but a granite block 137 meters high, 100 meters wide, and 30 meters thick, weighing more than 700,000 tons. In addition, the collapse was located at a depth of 488 meters, so heavy equipment could not be brought in, making drilling through the rock unfeasible. The Chilean government quickly organized a rescue team. The owner of the largest copper mine in the country, Andre, took on the role of rescue commander. Chilean Minister of Mining Lawrence Goulbourne was also present at the scene. The workers' families set up tents nearby to wait. At this point, the first thing that needed to be determined was whether the miners were still alive. If they were alive, where were they? No trace of them was found above the massive rock, so the 33 men were probably deeper down. At a depth of 700 meters, a shelter had been built. That place stored food and supplies for 2 to 3 days, and the workers all knew about it, so it was very likely they were inside. But how to confirm it? A 2002 accident at the Quee Creek mine in the US gave them a clue. At that time, the Americans drilled a hole from the surface, then used a rescue basket to pull up 9 miners. I have told stories of accidents like this before. The Chilean rescue team decided to use the same method. But to increase the chances of success, they brought in 4 drills to operate simultaneously. However, because the shelter was so deep, it was only on the 17th day after the workers were trapped that they finished the first hole. But by this time, the food in the shelter should have long since run out. Therefore, at first, the rescue team did not place too much hope. Just like in the Quee Creek accident, they still pressed their ears to the steel pipe to listen. A few minutes later, faint knocking sounds came from inside. But they were still not sure, so they left the probe down a little longer. If there were still people alive below, they would definitely leave some kind of message on the pipe. Half an hour later, the rescue team pulled up the steel pipe. Sure enough, there was a mark of red paint smeared by someone. Then they found 2 pieces of paper, one of which was written in red letters. All 33 of us are in the shelter, all safe. Seeing this message, the scene immediately erupted with joy. But no one could understand how, with only 2 days' worth of food, they had managed to last 17 days. At this time, the president declared that no matter how difficult it was, they would, at all costs, bring them home safely. This lifted spirits at the scene even higher. Amid the celebration, the rescue work did not stop. Although the workers were still alive, too many days had already passed. By estimation, their food should have been completely gone. The oxygen levels in the tunnel must also have dropped to the minimum warning level. Therefore, the urgent task was to understand their condition and quickly send supplies down. The rescue team connected a series of pipes leading into the tunnel. Inside the pipe, they placed a telephone line and a camera. The Minister of Mining picked up the phone, and immediately the workers' voices came from the other side. The scene once again exploded with emotion. The workers' condition also appeared through the camera. When they were finally connected, everyone learned how they had survived. In the midst of scarce water, little food, and stifling heat, they endured. The underground shelter was quite small, able to hold only a few dozen people, but fortunately, there were many folding beds. Therefore, the others had to disperse and sleep in the adjacent tunnel. The food in the shelter was truly very little, so from the beginning they had planned for the long term. During the days they were trapped, each person was allowed only 2 spoonfuls of tuna, a sip of milk, and half a biscuit per day. As for drinking water, that was not lacking, because next to the shelter there was a large pit where a fair amount of water remained. They were not only able to drink water, but also bathe regularly. Just like the Thai cave rescue, without a water source, they might have lost their lives long ago. But surviving that many days on just that amount of food was still astonishing. After understanding their situation, the rescue team continued drilling the second hole. One hole was mainly for installing line systems. The second hole was for supplying air and transporting water, food, and so on. Because after such a long period of hunger, eating too much suddenly would be life-threatening. The rescue team only sent them nutritional solution to sustain life, then gradually transitioned to liquid food and regular food. During this time, the workers once requested the rescue team to send cigarettes down, but for safety reasons, it was refused. Instead, they were sent nicotine patches to reduce cravings. After solving the smoking issue, the next problem was how to bring them out. They devised a total of 3 plans. Plan A, drill a small vertical hole down, then wide enough for a rescue capsule to pass through. For this, they borrowed the largest drill in South America. But drilling through 700 meters was estimated to take more than 3 months, and the debris excavated would be about 3,000 to 4,000 tons. Plan B, expand the hole that had already been drilled, continuing to widen the circular hole. This would not easily deviate and would save a lot of time. Although it would still take about 2 months, this was already the fastest plan. The third plan was a backup plan. Use a large oil drilling machine to drill a big hole straight down. Although the cost was higher and the time longer, it could guarantee success in one attempt. They could drill a hole with a diameter of about 66 centimeters, which at most could accommodate a person with a waist circumference of around 90 centimeters. Therefore, the rescue team also required overweight miners to lose weight. To increase the chance of success, they invited NASA experts for support, nutritionists to arrange workers' diets, and doctors to monitor health issues. To avoid errors, they also prepared 2 drills for each plan to work simultaneously. It could be said that to save the trapped workers, cost was no longer a concern. Plan A started immediately on the 30th day after the workers were trapped. When the new drill was brought in, Plan B was also launched simultaneously. At this time, the miners' food and air had been secured, leaving only the psychological issue. Therefore, the rescue team finally agreed to the workers' request, sending down a few packs of cigarettes and a deck of cards, while also installing video phones so they could talk with their families at any time. Later, they even sent down a small projector. At that time, Chile and Ukraine were playing a soccer match, and the miners watched it live underground. Unfortunately, they didn't know how to play mahjong. If a mahjong set could connect to Wi-Fi and a few phones were sent down, maybe they wouldn't even need to come out. Just kidding. In reality, it was still very hard down there. Besides the hot and humid environment, there was also the constant fear of not knowing whether they would survive to get out. The pressure on each person was immense. Even worse, by the 48th day of being trapped, Plan A had only drilled 2 to 3 meters, while Plan B had come to a complete halt because a drill bit broke and got stuck underground. By the time they managed to remove the drill bit, another 5 days had passed. To prevent such incidents from happening again, the rescue team decided to activate Plan C. They brought in a 500-ton oil drilling machine, capable of drilling as deep as 3,000 meters. The equipment was very powerful, but the speed was extremely slow. Drilling 700 meters would still take more than 3 months. Meanwhile, the trapped miners were not sitting idle because the drilling caused rocks to fall into the mine. Even though the exit was still some distance away, this could block the escape route and hinder the rescue. so the trapped miners had to take turns clearing away the fallen rocks. To prevent the rescue capsule from getting stuck in the shaft, the rescue team decided to line the drilled tunnel with steel, and wheels were attached to the capsule to make it more stable during ascent and descent. On the morning of October 9, 2010, at 8 a.m., the 66th day since the miners were trapped, Plan B succeeded first. But even until the last man was rescued, Plans A and C were still kept as backups. On the 69th day since the accident, the rescue team completed the final preparations. At the site, they set up observation posts, a medical station, and other facilities. Inside the rescue capsule, a telephone system was also installed, so that during the ascent, the workers could communicate at any time. 2 rescue workers went down one after another in the rescue capsule to the shelter. They trained the miners below and assisted them into the rescue capsule. Each worker took about 15 minutes to come up. The entire rescue operation was expected to last 1 to 2 days. At 11 p.m., 31-year-old Florencio Avalos sat in the Phoenix 2 rescue capsule and became the first to return to the surface. At that moment, all of Chile erupted in cheers. Next came the second, then the third, one after another, from night into day and from day into night. The rescue operation lasted a total of 22 hours. When team leader Luis Ursua was brought up, all 33 trapped workers were safe. When the 2 rescue workers also came up, the 69-day-long rescue mission officially ended. It is often said, after great disaster comes great fortune. This legendary experience of the miners drew the attention of the whole world. This mining accident, besides leaving painful memories for them, also brought unexpected wealth. According to initial estimates, each miner received compensation and additional income totaling up to 5.86 million yuan. Afterward, they began writing books, joining television programs. One miner exclaimed, "I never thought I wouldn't have to work for the rest of my life." But throughout the entire rescue operation, what deserved the most attention and praise was the rescue team and the Chilean government, who always put people first, without calculating costs. Thanks to the decisive use of modern rescue technology, they left a profound impression on the entire world. All right, that's the end of today's video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.